Hello, and welcome to the Salem Station podcast, a show where we rank and review all of your favorite horror movies. I'm your co host, Robert.
And I'm your co-host Alex, and today we're here with our guest Alexis.
Hi.
This is movie number 92. I think it's 92. Yeah. This is movie number 92, and that movie is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It came out 1997. Yeah, it's 1997, and it's a teen drama horror flick, I guess you could.
It's a
slasher.
It's a teen slasher.
Yeah, it's a teen slasher. I guess before going into the whole thing, Alexis, is there a horror movie that you like, or is there a horror movie that I don't know you enjoy, or is there?
I feel like I've watched like the Halloween franchise like a couple times. I used to be like fairly like disturbed, but now it's just kind of like
it's like cool, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
like
whatever.
It's like enjoyable now versus like when I was younger, I was like super traumatized.
Oh
Right.
no.
And I'm like scared of everything.
It's understandable. I mean, I made a couple of our friends watch the new Halloween movie, and some of them didn't like it.
I don't think I've seen
I
it.
don't think I've seen the newest one either.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Watch it. We should watch it sometime soon, I think. I don't know. We're not covering the original Halloween anytime soon, though, because that movie's pretty good, unlike this one.
Unlike these, we're sloshing through the horrible ones first.
We're making our way up, guys. Don't worry. We're at number 92, so 4 episodes in. This movie, woof. We just saw it right now, and this.
Let me tell you, it is something.
Yeah. Oh, before I guess we go into I forgot to mention in the past 2 episodes where you can find these movies. If you want to watch Terrifier, that's available on Netflix, and Leprechaun is available on HBO Max.
If for some horrible reason you wanted to go out and watch these movies.
Yeah. This movie, at least as of recording, it's available on Showtime. Not just this movie, but every movie in this franchise.
We'll talk more about these movies. There's 3 movies in the franchise. There shouldn't be 3 movies in the franchise, but there are.
Yeah. This movie takes place in like a pretty cool setting, I guess. It takes place like on a little fishing town on East Coast or West Coast. Do they ever say like what the?
They don't say in the movie, but it was filmed on the West Coast, so we can assume the West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll assume it's on the West Coast someplace. Not gonna lie, that the idea of a horror movie taking place on a boat is a cool concept. Like if there are wait, never mind. I just remembered Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. It takes place on a boat and it sucks.
Part 8?
Yeah, Part 8.
Jesus.
I have seen all 12 movies, guys.
There's 12?
Oh yeah, there's 12 Friday movies.
Oh
Hold
my
on,
god.
Let me list them out for you by memory.
Talk about beating a dead fucking horse.
There's movie 1, there's movie 2, just called Part 2. There's movie 3. Some people call it either Part 3 or Part 3D because it has some really bad 3D effects. There's Part 4. Part 4 is the final chapter. Part 5 is A New Beginning.
The final chapter?
It's not even the final chapter. We're 1/4 of the way in. Part 6 is Jason Lives, which is my favorite one. Then it's Part 7, The New Blood. Then it's Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Spoilers, Jason does not take Manhattan. Then it's Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, I believe. Then it's Jason X, which is Jason in Space. Then it's Freddy vs. Jason, and then it's the Friday remake. So yeah, I've seen all of them. I binge watched them all.
That's horrible.
Do I regret it? I don't know. We should binge watch them all.
Who asked for him to go in space, bro?
You know what's funny?
Yeah, why?
I was talking to Enrique about like I guess the Friday franchise, and at the end of the 9th film, because New Line Cinema is the company I guess that makes the Nightmare movies, and they recently had acquired the rights to Jason. So obviously the obvious thing to do is Freddy versus Jason, and at the end of the 9th movie, you have Jason's mask like on the ground, and you have Freddy's glove come out of the ground and pull it under. So it's almost like, oh, it's a matchup. So people are like hyped for Freddy versus Jason. And then the next movie that comes out is Jason in space.
The ultimate switcheroony.
And then people are so pissed. They didn't get Freddy versus Jason until like way after, but yeah. But Jason X isn't that bad. I don't know. It's cheesy. It's a good cheesy movie. I like Jason X. But yeah. Anyways, wow. I know what you did last summer though. I cannot say the same about this one.
Jesus, this movie.
Yeah, this movie, it stars pretty two well-known actresses, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar. I don't know if these are. I don't think this is Jennifer Love Hewitt's debut role because I think she's been in things before this. I don't know about Sarah Michelle Gellar though. I know most people know her as Daphne or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I knew her as Daphne. I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've never seen any episodes of that, but anyways, I digress. Yeah. I guess you can go into the plot of this movie. I don't know how else to go along with. I don't know how else to start this. Let's just go into the movie.
All right.
So you start off the movie by they do like this overhead shot where like they're going over the cliffs of the coast or whatnot.
It looks like PCH.
And you see like this guy vibing on the cliff. Like he's like vibing with like a little twirly thing or something. It's like a spinning thing. It's like a proto fidget spinner. And he's playing with it, and then you cut away to like a pageant show or like it's like a beauty show. And one of the characters, her name is Helen, who's played by Sarah Michelle. She's winning the crown, the fish. I think they call her the Fish Queen or something like that.
Oh,
She wins.
Not a nice name.
Yeah, she wins the award, and her three friends, Jennifer's character, whose name is Jules something, Julie something, Julie Jones, Julie Janes. It was some stupid thing, but her and her boyfriend Ray and Helen's boyfriend, who's the worst character in this movie, Barry. Man, I hate that character so much.
I feel like, I don't know, he has his place. Everyone hates him.
He literally harasses anyone who he thinks is doing wrong by him.
He harasses anyone like point blank. Like he's just mean to everyone all the time.
Yeah.
With anger issues.
He's just straight abusive.
Yeah, like this guy has this guy seen stuff? Like, damn. But yeah. She wins and they're like at a party and they're like, oh, we're gonna go to the beach and like go celebrate there. And they bump into like a guy named Max, and he's like, I think he has a thing for Jennifer's character, and she's like, oh, like, can I drive you there or something like that? I forget what he says. And Barry gets all protective even though it's not his girl, and he's like, bro, step back and whatnot, and like harasses him. Max gets harassed by Barry throughout the movie until he dies. Spoilers.
Yeah.
And so the four, they leave to the beach, and they're telling like a scary, fireplace story, like of a guy who was a fisherman with the hook. What was it? What was the scary story that they
It
were
was
saying?
like the fisherman, and he has like a hook for a hand, and he was like, it's like a typical scary story.
Foreshadowing
Yeah.
this movie. So yeah, and they go to have some steamy time, and on the way back,
Some
Barry's all
steamy time.
yeah. On the way back, Barry's all drunk, so they let Ray drive, and like they're all distracted in the car because Barry's just being annoying. He's putting the music up, and he's just harassing them by like throwing beer all over them and whatnot. So naturally, when someone's walking across the road, they just run him over. They run that. They run someone over, and the first thing Barry assumes is like he must be dead or something, and they're like, no, he's alive, and they're like, okay, go check the pulse. They don't even check his pulse. They just look at him.
They look at him, he's like,
dead.
yeah, that man's probably dead.
Yeah, he's dead. And then obviously, as what a normal person would do would be like, okay, let's go call the police and like probably report this in or something, call someone. Barry's first instinct is to let's throw him into the sea.
Yeah, let's get rid of the body and move him somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, this takes place on the 4th of July, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's like
movie.
this big thing. It happened on 4th of July. That's why they're partying.
Yeah. So Barry basically bullies and harasses them into joining his idea of like throwing poor guy over the ocean. So he makes them. So they're planning on like how to get rid of his body and whatnot, and then they're on the side of the road in like this cliffy area, and then you see a car pull up, and they're like, "Oh, what do we do? What do we do?" So they hide the body in like the shrubs, and you see Max pull up, the character that was harassed before. He pulls up, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Nothing. Like, can we help you with something?" And what does he say? He says something like, "Yeah, you can wipe that smug look off your face," or something like that.
Yeah.
You can wipe that my shit don't stink grin off your face.
Oh,
What?
you can tell he's been waiting to use that line
Max?
forever.
Yeah.
Will do.
Some
Like
rude
real
thing.
bitter all the time.
Yeah,
'Cause he
these
really
guys
wants
probably
to
bully him
compete.
all the time.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Fine then," and he just goes, but in a suspicious way, like a subtle suspicious way. And so the characters then load the person that they just ran over into their trunk. They go down to the docks. They take his body out of the trunk and put him on the pier, and they're like ready to dump him over. But he's not dead. He's not dead. It's revealed he was just hit. He was just unconscious, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Barry's first instinct is like, no, and just pushes him over.
Yeah, into the sea.
Like, you had run him over by accident. And I'm not going to say I understand you throwing him into the ocean thinking, to hide a body. So, like, that was an accident, though. I don't understand why would you want to do that, but that was an accident, okay? Him knowing that he's still alive and then still proceeding to throw him in the ocean, that's just manslaughter. That's like,
And then leaving him for dead.
yeah, like now you're just actively trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And so he grabs Helen. I'm just gonna call her Sarah's character, Sarah Michelle. He grabs her tiara that she just won, and he goes under the ocean. And Barry, like, dick, like, why would you want? I don't know. He jumps in after, takes the tiara, and swims back up, leaving the guy to drown, I guess. And he, again, in Barry fashion, bullies them into making a pact that they will never talk about or speak of this incident ever again. He just bullies them. And he grabs Jennifer's character and like chokeholds her until she like
until she agrees with him. And then her boyfriend's just standing there like, "God, come on guys, stop it guys." Like, what the fuck are you doing? Do something.
Protect the girl, dude. Your friend's harassing her.
Yeah, and then he's like, "It's gonna be okay." It's like, what the fuck?
No wonder they broke her. Yeah, I would be too. And then so she agrees, and then you cut to 1 year later. Let's catch up with our characters. What are they doing 1 year later? And then they show Jennifer Love Hewitt's like in college, and she looks like a wreck.
Yeah, she's not doing well.
Yeah, like her hair was all like luscious and like full of, like just, it was all pumped up and whatnot. Now it's just like just flat. Like it's dead. Her mother calls her like she looks like death or something, right? Just like, why do you look like death? You look so dead.
Why do you look like you've killed somebody?
Like, did she say that?
No.
Oh, I thought she did. And so she goes home, and her mother's like expecting her, I guess, and she's like, "Yay, we can have it's finally like you and me here at home." And she's not like Jennifer doesn't care. She's still traumatized. I would be too, like killing someone would probably change my life too. And so she gets a note. She gets a note from an unknown sender, and she opens it up, and the note says the title of the movie, "I Know What You Did Last Summer." And she's freaking out. Like, does someone remember? Like, was someone there that saw them like throw the body over into the ocean? And so she starts freaking out. So she goes to try to contact her friend Sarah's character. Keep in mind these characters haven't, at least you're supposed to presume that they haven't talked to each other in like, since that incident. So she meets up with her, and the character had dreams of like going to New York or something. And I guess they're supposed to show you that like these two girls are supposed to be like looking distraught. Sarah's character looks fine. She does not look distraught. So Barry makes a comment later when he sees her, like, looks like someone ran you over twice over. Bro, not even. She looks fine.
Yeah, she's like really put together.
Yeah, she's really well put
Nothing
together.
phases her.
Like, I get why he would say that's Jennifer's character, not Sarah. Like, bruh. But whatever, I guess. You gotta make Barry a
They had
dick.
both seen some shit.
Yeah. And so she's like, "Oh, like I haven't seen Barry in a while. My boyfriend. You shouldn't even catch up with him, but sure, I guess." So they go over to Barry to try to see, like, oh, who was it? Who sent the note that they remember, or they saw what happened last summer, and Barry then assumes, hey, it's either Ray or Max, the guy who pulled over for an instant and like was like looking at what they were doing. So they go over to Max first, and Max is just, he hasn't seen these guys in like a year, and he's just minding his own business. He's got a job. Is it like a fisherman or something?
Yeah, he just walks out. He's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And he gets decked in the face.
Barry's like, "Can I talk to you in private for a sec?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, I guess." They go into a private like little area, and Barry just harasses him. He like pushes him like up against the wall or something. He grabs a hook and like slashes at his cheek, I think, and he's like, "Listen here, you." He does not explain the reason why he's there.
Yeah, all he says is like, "Listen here, you little shit." He's like, "I don't know what the fuck."
Yeah, and then he walks out, and the girls are like, and he's like, "Don't worry, like,
don't worry, I handled it." Like he didn't just make a fucking case for himself.
Yeah,
as if like anything he did was like remotely productive. He's like, "You need to have no more problems with this guy."
Yeah, like you just
like if anything, you just gave him a reason to kill you.
you just gave him a motive to go after you, man. You didn't do anything. But Max is like what the hell? Like I was just minding my own business. Mind you, Max has not seen this guy in like a year, so he's probably wondering, like, "Hey, man, this is like a little reunion or something." Nah.
No, decked in the face.
Yeah, and so Max leaves his hook on a little ice, on a huge, not a little ice, a huge block of ice.
Yeah, a huge block of ice. And they put the fish on.
Yeah, and he turns around for a sec. He comes back, and the hook is missing. He doesn't notice at first, and he's like doing his little job, minding his own business, putting fish into like these little steam things. I don't know. I don't work at a fishing dock, at a fishing port. And you see like the silhouette of like a fisherman guy, and he whips out the hook and like uppercuts him. He like jabs the hook right through his jaw and like pulls him over his table, pulls him over the counter, and in a pretty gruesome way.
Yeah,
I'd say it's actually probably the most brutal death in the movie, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And poor Max, he just got harassed by a guy he hasn't seen in a year, and he's just minding his own business. He has no connection to anything that happened last summer. And this guy just comes out of nowhere and just kills him. So yeah.
Yeah, this poor guy.
Max is killed, and you see that the fisherman, he's just wearing what's called a rain slicker. Basically like a fisherman's trench coat.
Yeah.
Fancy name for that. But yeah, rain slicker. And so he's killed. And like his blood goes all over the fish. So already you've contaminated all the goods, for that day.
All the crabs, yeah. He was cooking crabs. So those are all contaminated.
And so you cut later that night, and you have Barry. It's like, this guy must have anger issues, because he's in a gym and he's just going at it, man. He's
just full of hatred.
Yeah, like you could like, what's wrong with this character? He's boxing, and he's just no mercy. And so he's by himself in the gym. he's in the gym locker and he goes to like his locker and he finds a note that says, "I know," or "I know what you did last time." I don't remember what one of the two, and he's like going around the locker room trying to find if the killer or the assailant is around, and no one's around. He asks the guy who's at the front desk, like, "Hey, wants the gym?" And he's like, "Nah, man, it's just you and me." And so he leaves, and he finds his car being hijacked, and he's like, "Well, what the heck?" And the guy who hijacked his car proceeds to back out, and Barry's like chasing him, like, "Come back with my car." And the guy's like, "Well, I guess you want your car back," and he proceeds to run him over.
and knock him into a building.
Hold on. I say this in every episode. He proceeds to barrel him down with his own vehicle. I notice I say that in every episode for some reason.
Barrel him down.
Barrel him down.
He sends him flying through like a wall or something.
It's like a whole ass
That guy-
building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had like minor injuries though.
Yeah, he was
Like really just his arm, kind of.
Yeah, it's just dude, this guy would have like broken ribs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the guy with the hook shows up and gives him like minor injuries, like not even kills him, just like threatens him, I guess.
Yeah, because then
Like
it,
just to fuck with him.
because it transitions then to him being in the hospital. So like you didn't kill one of the people that was responsible for whatever you claim you saw last summer, but you killed Max, who literally did nothing.
Yeah,
So
like
you
what
got
the
your
hell?
motives wrong.
He was just being annoying, I don't know.
Yeah, he was like, I don't like this character.
I mean, he
named
was
Max.
doing it like being a little more than just annoying, I would say.
Yeah, and then so the gang's all there, and they're all like, "Oh, like, hey, hey, Barry, like you're in the hospital," and they go try to like research like who may have who they like who it might have been that like left Jennifer the note and who might have left Barry the note and ran him over. And she drops the name David Egan, and she's like, I looked up because like a couple weeks after we had dumped someone in the ocean, the name David Egan came up on the news saying
So-
that he was found in a net. And
Yeah,
they're
so they
like,
assume
"Oh."
that this is the guy.
Yeah, and so for like a good half of the movie, you're assuming that David Egan was a person that they had dumped into the ocean. Meanwhile, they're setting up the boyfriend to be kind of suspicious, which this movie, and I knew watching this movie, I'd have to eventually compare it to Scream, because Scream came out in 1996. This movie is obviously influenced by it because this movie came out in 1997, and the screenwriter for Scream is, I believe, the screenwriter for this movie. Kevin Williamson is his name, I believe. So like obviously, like Scream must have had obviously it has a huge impact on horror, that they were like, okay, now you make your own movie here, which obviously wasn't as successful, I guess. I mean, Ghostface has gone down in horror history. I wouldn't say Ben Willis has. That's another comparison, because in Scream, the boyfriend is the killer.
This
He's
movie
one of the
really,
Ghostface.
yeah, this movie just really feels like a ripoff of Scream.
Yeah. And so in this movie, it's almost like, hey, you've seen that movie? Well, here's a little subtle nod that like maybe the boyfriend is the killer.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. He's like, you never know.
And then Alex was like, in the commentary, he was like, I bet it's two people, like it's Scream.
Yeah, I was like, I bet it's two people. You're screwed. I bet it's the whole fucking town.
The whole town is in on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then so she explains like how the local they ran over, his name was David Egan, because she assumes that the person that they found in the ocean weeks later, it's the same guy. And so Helen and Julie go to try to meet David Egan's sister, her name's Missy, and she lives in this offbeat road she lives in this really rinky dinky house in like a Texas Chainsaw vibe. There's like animals hung up.
Yeah, and it's like supposed to kind of like, I guess, kind of like hint her as someone
Yeah.
suspicious.
Because she's the sister, and it's almost like maybe she's getting revenge. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's not the boyfriend, it's her. Or it could be both of them, just like in Scream. So yeah, so she's suspicious, and they like go to so they're going, and Sarah is like, so what are we going exactly to the sister for? Are we just gonna go up and confess that we're the killer, or that we're the ones that dumped his body into the ocean, and then she makes like a Six Silence of the Lambs reference, which I was like, oh, I got that.
You know, Jodie Foster tried this and a skin-ripping serial killer answered the door.
Oh, that's a Silence of the Lambs reference. We're reviewing that movie on this podcast, but not anytime soon because unlike this movie, it's also another good movie. But yeah, and so they go in and they through like, saying, "Oh, our car broke down. Can we use your phone?" and some other nonsense. They managed to get some information out of Missy that a guy named Billy Blue came over, to like pay his respects for David Egan's death.
Yeah, and
they're
like, and
"Oh."
then she got smitten with him, but it didn't work. And we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. And so they're like, who's this Billy Blue? Like, we have to look this up.
So this is a new guy.
Yeah. Like, if it wasn't Missy or the boyfriend, it must be Billy Blue. Who is this? And so they go home, and later that night, you see what's her name? You see Sarah's character. She goes to her home and she like tells her father, "Hey, I'm home," and the father just clearly ignores her. Like,
The father
her
does not
sister
say a
just-
single word this entire movie. He's just like, "Yep." He's just sitting there drinking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I also forgot. Her character also has a sister. I'm only mentioning this because she dies later. Literally, the only reason why she's probably in the movie.
She's just there to be bitter, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can't be successful like her sister. She's here to be a bitch. Anyways, so she goes upstairs, and we just introduce that the father doesn't notice her. He doesn't care. So obviously he wouldn't notice that the fisherman has just entered his house and just literally passed by the living room. The fisherman goes upstairs and hides in her closet. In a clear moment of product placement, Sarah pours herself a nice Coke, drinks it. Delicious. Just like Santa in those Coke commercials. She goes upstairs and she goes to sleep, I guess. And the fisherman is like watching her in a very pervy way, I guess. Not I guess, it is pervy.
Yeah, he's just chilling in the closet, just vibing the entire night.
Yeah. And so again, another weird transition. She wakes up and she's like, she notices that someone put tiara on her head, and she takes off the tiara, and she also notices at the same time she pulled
Her
out
hair's
like
been
clumps
cut.
of her hair.
Yeah.
And she's like looking at all the pieces of her hair that's been cut, which they make like a point that she's like overly distressed about it. Her hair's been messed up, but later on, her hair's pretty perfect. Her hair's perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it just comes
Really
back.
hairstylist.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been cut. Like, no matter how much trauma this chick goes through, they say she looks bad, like she's been run over. Not even, bruh. She's the best looking person in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, so she has that going for her. So like now you have Jennifer's character who got the note, Barry who's been run over, and you have Sarah's character who just had her hair cut. Because I believe they want to go confront Ray, who's the fourth friend. On the way there, Jennifer's going over there, I believe, and she hears this like rustling noise from her trunk. So she pulls over and pops open that bad boy.
And inside is Mr. Krabs himself. No, there's just a bunch of crabs.
Yeah, there's a corpse in there, and there's like
and a
crabs
corpse
all
surrounded
over.
by crabs. So like it sets it up as like, oh, there's a human in there. Nope, just crabs. Just crabs
No, there
vibing
is
all over this
corpse.
guy's body.
Yeah, and there's like something crawls out of his mouth. No,
No, it was just the crabs.
was that Max's body?
Yeah, I think it was Max's body. It's kind of hard to tell. And then she loses it, of course. And
Yeah, she starts screaming.
She screams and then she runs and she calls her friends.
Her friend.
Yeah, she's like, come look, and they come back and of course the body's gone. So they all think she's crazy, despite the fact that this guy was almost killed by like the guy.
Not only that, like the trunk looked like the crabs were wet, the body was like all dank.
Yeah, no, and like there was stuff in the back. Yeah, no, how you clean it out so quick?
Like there wasn't even a spot of like wetness or blood in the trunk, but whatever's. And then Barry is like, "Are you like okay? Are you losing your marbles? like you don't believe her, even though you were run down like a day ago by probably the same guy. Okay, I guess. So yeah. So then they're like, okay, well, we've all three of us have been harassed by this probably the same guy. Let's go catch up with Ray, because as far as we know, he hasn't. And let's go check him out. And so I'm sure the two girls are assuming, let's just go interrogate him. Let's just go question him if there's been anything suspicious. Barry's the one that goes interrogates them, man. His mode of interrogating is Ray's walking up to them smiling like, hey guys. And Ray
Yeah.
and Barry just goes up to him and just decks
him in the face. He decks him in the face with his bad arm.
Yeah.
Broken arm.
Again, Ray, probably the same reaction as Max. He's seeing these guys probably for the first time, and he's like, what? Like, hey guys, like he has a smile on his face, like, good to catch up with y'all. Nah. The moment he sees Barry, he's knocked out.
Yeah, on the ground. But he recovers super quickly. He jumps back up and he starts screaming.
Yeah. I mean, I would like, who wouldn't, dude? You just got punched by this guy who, no reason why, you're just wondering, like, why?
Like, why?
Yeah. And so they just go in circles talking about, oh, someone must have been there, someone must have known. And so Jennifer's character goes back to Missy, I believe. So Jennifer's character goes back to Missy while Barry and Sarah's character go to the parade.
The parade, they split up. Because it's 4th of July again, and they're saying, oh, if anything happens, the killer's going to show up.
Yeah, and if they're at the parade and he tries to go after them, like it'll be like a public place,
Yeah.
And so, while Jennifer's character is at Missy's house, she tries to confess that, hey, we were the ones who, like, because we were the ones who threw your brother over. And her brother's like, no, he died by suicide. Like, he wanted to, because his wife or girlfriend
actually died.
Yeah, because I guess David was driving one day. No, so it was the 4th of July before the 4th of July that they threw someone over. So it was like 2 years ago. There's so many 4th of Julys in this movie.
So many fucking.
So to follow this timeline, I guess, this guy named David Egan, he has his wife named Susie Willis, and they're vibing one 4th of July, and he crashes, he survives, but Susie dies. Susie Willis dies. So then the following 4th of July, he's like sitting on the cliff trying to commit suicide. And you have that same 4th of July, these 4 kids run someone over and dump someone in the ocean. The 4th of July after that is the events we're following right now. So she's saying that her brother committed suicide and threw himself into the ocean. And Jennifer's character is like, no, we are the one who threw him into the ocean. We killed him. It wasn't an accident. And she's like, no, I was given a note. It wasn't that. He was feeling hard on himself. Like he was going to do it. And that's when Jennifer's character realizes, oh, the person we ran over was not David Egan.
He said, oh, shit.
Yeah, we ran someone else over. We've been running in circles.
He killed somebody else.
Yeah. And so then she's like, okay, so like, who did we kill? So at what's called, I'm looking this up, it's called the Croaker beauty pageant.
The Croaker,
like frogs
yeah.
Croak. Actually, before the beauty pageant, Helen, which is Sarah's character, I realized I called her Helen. Sarah's character and Barry are at the parade, and they're trying to pinpoint like who's wearing that. I think the slicker is what it's called, the trench coat and the hat. You're in a fishing town, so every other dude you encounter is wearing that. So she's like pointing people out, and then it's obviously not that person. And then she sees like a random guy wearing the trench coat, like walking suspiciously, and she points it out. Barry goes chasing after him. You just see the back of the guy, and Barry just proceeds and tackles him down. And it's revealed it's just the old man he's like gasping for breath too, like, oh, help. So he attacks this old man, it's not the killer. It's a guy who's trying to get his paycheck and just probably broke a couple ribs or something.
He's like, I'm gonna go
And
enjoy this nice like parade, and then I can go back to my sad little job. And then he gets harassed for no
Yeah.
reason.
so then you cut to the beauty pageant, and they're trying to like I guess do auditions for who the new fish queen, I think is what it's called. The new fish queen would be this year, and it's the saddest auditions I've ever seen.
It was so bad.
It's just this random girl singing like half-heartedly, and even Sarah Michelle's character is like, "Oh my god, like, I don't think who's gonna be who the hell's gonna be the winner this year? Like, that sucks." And she's on stage and she's looking up, and up above she just sees Barry, who's like watching her, like hey, like that's my girl, and she's I guess last year's queen, and she notices that there's a fisherman behind him, and the fisherman guts him with the hook, drives the hook right up into his gut,
Yep.
and she screams on stage, and she tries
She tries to run,
rush.
and people stop her, and they're like, "Why are you screaming?" And no one goes to help her. Like no one's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, maybe we should listen to her." Nope.
Yeah, she's running down the aisle to like go up and help him, and they all like grab onto her, and they're like, "Stay here. What do you need?" And so there's an officer who's like, "Hey, cut it out with your tricks or whatnot. Let me take you home because I don't know, you're traumatized or something. This might be some quick idea of a joke, I guess. I don't know." And so he like suggests to take her home, and she does so. And before that, she's like, "Hey, I'm go check on my boyfriend. Like he might have died." And there's nothing there. You just see like a little hint of blood, but everything. Barry's gone and the fisherman's gone. And so they're driving home. They're vibing, and by the ways, I know I didn't mention this, and I briefly mentioned this on the commentary track. I had vaguely seen this movie as a child. I'd only watched when I was watching horror movies for this list. I was watching like just horror movies that are well known or horror movies that aren't well known, and I came across this movie, and I don't think I was like, this sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever watched it. Halfway through watching this movie, I was like, oh, I've seen this as a kid. Because there's some scenes I remember. Like, I'm talking about a scene where the police officer and Sarah's character are in the police car. And I remember that vividly as a kid. So this movie,
Which
I
I mean,
remember.
like, what the fuck have you been watching as a kid?
Yeah. Oh, there's movies like this. This movie and I think Scream 2, I remember like vaguely as a kid. Like Scream 2 takes place in the college, and there's a part where like the boyfriend's strung up because in the first Scream, the boyfriend's the killer. So she assumes that in the second one, she's not the one who strings him up, it's his friends, but she assumes that like maybe the boyfriend's the killer in the second Scream. He's not. He ends up dead because they kill him, but he's not the killer. And I
Yeah.
remember that he's strung up. Rather it's the boyfriend's mother from the first is the one who is the killer in the second Scream. Spoilers from Scream 2, which is like a 20-some-year-old movie. But anyways, so yeah, I remember this. I remember like vague scenes of this movie. Like this scene. They're going down an alley, and she's like, "Hey, like you're a dick for ignoring me saying like there's possibly a murderer going around in this town killing teens." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then there's like a guy with the hood. There's a guy parked in the middle of the alley, and he's like working under the hood of his car, and the police officer's like, "Oh hey, let me go help this guy. You might need help." And he proceeds to go over. It's to help him. It's the fisherman. Fisherman guts the officer with his hook, kills him. And I remember that as a kid. I remember like so when I watched this movie for this list, I was like, no, that's the fisherman. Like, don't go up to him. Don't help him. I know.
Yeah,
what
like even as
happened.
a kid, you're like, don't fucking do it,
Oh,
you idiot.
Yeah.
I love how even as a child, you're like, no, that's
Yeah.
a bad idea.
And so yeah, the fisherman guts him, and so Sarah's character is stuck in the cop car. She's in the back seat, which again, as Alex was mentioning in the commentary track, it's a common trope. They do that in Scream 2 as well, I think. Yeah, and Scream 2. Sorry, I'm making another correlation to the
Yeah,
Scream
another
franchise.
correlation. I mean, it's
Um,
basically the same shit.
yeah, which Scream 2 also came out the same year as this movie, 1997. Scream 2 came out a year after the first Scream.
Oh,
But in that one, yeah, they saw the success of Scream, and there's no way they weren't going to make a sequel. Which the sequel's good. I like all the Scream. I know I said this last episode. I like all the Scream movies except for Scream 3. That movie sucks, and I hate it so much. It could have been a perfect four movie franchise. Soon to be a 5 movie because they're making Scream 5 soon.
are they?
Which I'm actually pretty hyped. Yeah, they're making Scream 5.
Oh wow, that's gonna
I'm
be
pretty
interesting.
excited. They're getting like the cast together from like or at least the cast that survived all the 4 movies. And it's gonna be pretty fun. We should, if we do the Scream franchise, which we will, we should watch Scream 1, Scream 2, and Scream 4. You don't have to watch Scream 3. It literally doesn't affect. Yeah.
We're doing it.
But yeah, it was earlier this year. All 4 movies were available on Showtime, which is how I was able to binge watch all the movies. I regret watching Scream 3, but anyways. Oh, and I think the reason why is Kevin Williamson, the guy who wrote this movie. He wrote all of the Scream movies except for the 3rd. So maybe that says something. Even though he wrote this movie sucks. But when he wrote the Scream movies, like they were great. But yeah, in Scream 2, sorry, another tangent. In Scream 2, there's 2 characters who are in the backseat, I believe, of a police car, and they're stuck in the backseat. And you know how there's like that little mesh to block that
I
separates
mean,
the front
it's
and back.
it's iron bars. It's a little more
know
than
what I
a
mean.
mesh. Yeah.
They take that down, and Ghostface is in the front seat, but he's knocked out. And in a moment of pretty good tension, like they have to climb over Ghostface's body and climb out of the window, which is kind of what they do on this, except the fisherman isn't knocked out in the front seat. But same thing kind of happens. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, I'm
yeah.
telling
And
you
then
guys
she
small things,
escapes,
though.
and I just hate how the killer just keeps walking everywhere.
Yeah. Slasher movie, so the killer's gotta walk. I think the
Yeah, you
only
know.
slasher I've ever seen run in all of his films is Ghostface.
That's
And I
interesting.
know because Ghostface, they wanted to have they wanted to have, I think, Scream take place in like the real world to give it like a sense that this movie, unlike the Halloween movies or Nightmare on Elm Street, this movie could actually take place in real life, which is why they're like in that first movie they show like scenes of the Halloween movie because it's like, yeah, like these are us, the horror fans who know all the tropes, and we're able to list it, which is why in the beginning when they ask like when they do that iconic scene where like Ghostface calls and he's like, "What's your favorite scary movie?" and she's like, "Oh, like I don't like Halloween," or maybe it's Nightmare on Elm Street, at least the first one. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I forget where I was going with this. But yeah, Scream was meant to be like Scream was meant to take place, I believe, like in our world, which they follow in like obviously the first, second, keep it up with the 4th, throw that out of the window in the 3rd. Literally, all realism is thrown out with the 3rd movie. Oh, I hate that movie. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. And Scream. Oh my god, Scream 3 sucks. It's the worst reveal of Ghostface. Because in the other movies, it's so cool. It's so great. And in that one, it's just a random character. It's a director who just happens to be the main character's brother. Anyways. But yeah. So I forgot where I was at. Sarah's character breaks out of the cop car by smashing the window. She crawls out of it in her she's still like in her dress from the beauty pageant. She runs away. The killer is like slowly walking after her, and she goes up to like her sisters because her and her sister run like a makeup shop or like a beauty shop or something like that.
No, it looked like a wedding dress place.
Yeah, it was like
but
a
they
wedding
also had
dress shop.
perfume. I don't know. They're lovely.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
let's just say she's out of business.
Yeah. She runs up to the door. Her sister unlocks the door, lets her in, and sister makes a point. Why didn't you come in through the back door? The back door's open. Uh-oh, where's the fisherman gonna come in from? The back door. Clever, I guess. Not really. So then it's revealed that the killer has indeed entered the building through the back door. And so the sister goes to the back door to lock it, so that way the if the characters find out he's there, they can't just run out through the door because the doors are locked. So she locks the door, the killer gets her, and in a moment, it's actually pretty terrifying. He's like holding her body up with the hook. So then he goes after Sarah's character, and Sarah's character is running throughout her store on both floors, top and bottom, running away from him. She ultimately jumps out of a window and falls down below, and you see fireworks everywhere. So she's like, "Oh, there's a parade going on. Like it's clear, it's nearby. Let me get to the people." She's running through the alleys, almost makes it, but in a weird moment, she hesitates and turns around
For no
and
fucking reason. Like, if anything, that should make you run faster.
Yeah, I don't know why. She hesitates. The killer's there, grabs her, and kills her right when she was close, literally a couple feet away from the marching band. But obviously, they can't hear her because of all the music and all the fireworks and whatnot. But yeah, she's killed on the spot. Yeah, she could have survived. I don't know why she hesitated. But yeah, so she's killed. Jennifer's character finds an article that mentions Susie's father, Susie Willis, the chick who had died in the car crash because of her husband, David Egan. Her father, Ben Willis, and she realizes that Ben Willis must have been the character that they ran over because he had the name tattooed. I think he had the name Susie tattooed on his arm or something like that. She's like, "Oh, like that was the person we ran over. We killed Ben Willis." Like, we didn't kill David Egan. So in a weird moment, I guess I forgot to mention this, but the sister of David Egan, Missy, she has a note that says like the same thing, like "I know" or something from last summer or whatever, and it's revealed that maybe it wasn't a suicide, but rather a death threat. So David Egan actually didn't kill himself. Ben Willis, the father of Susie, the father of his wife, was the one who killed him. So when you begin the movie and you see this random guy chilling on the cliff, that is David Egan, and Ben Willis killed him right there. And Ben Willis was going back after having killed his son-in-law, I guess. He was gonna vibe and go back, but
he got hit by
after
a car.
Yeah, he got interrupted by 4 drunk teenagers. So then she realizes that, oh, we killed Ben Willis instead. But Ben Willis killed, I guess, David Egan. So it's all fair, Life played the Uno card. Damn, you're back. So she goes to the docks to tell Ray, I don't know, the good news, I guess, that we killed the wrong guy. Or we
The
killed the guy
good
who
news
deserved
that, hey, we didn't kill who we thought we killed. We killed somebody completely different.
Yeah. So she goes to Ray, and in like a weird in a moment where they obviously build up that, maybe Ray's the killer. He's like, "Yeah, come aboard my boat." And he gives like the suspicious glance, and she's like, "Maybe not anymore." "No, you're acting a bit sus." And she runs away, and he's like, "No, come back." Like, oh, she runs away because Missy had said that after David Egan died, someone with the name of Billy Blue came over.
And the boat's name was Billy Blue.
Yeah, the boat's name is Billy Blue.
Back to what I said. So, she said that someone by the name of Billy Blue came and visited, right? She also said that he was cute and that they had a moment. So he definitely piped the sister.
He needed information.
He needed the information.
He needs to do this for everyone.
He knew that Jennifer's character would break up with him after that, so he's like, let me just get my chance with the first chick I see, who's probably the sister of the guy we ran over.
It was a long year for him, let's just say that.
Yeah. So she sees the name Billy Blue on the boat, and she's like, "Oh, you psycho, you're the killer." And so she runs away, and this old guy stops Ray, kind of knocks him out. Not really, knocks him to the floor, and he's like, go to my boat, like, let me help you, like, come on, go, rush. And she's like, okay. And Ray's knocked on the floor, and he's like trying to get up, and you see this guy, this old dude, like in a suspicious way, like begin to undock his boat and proceed to just float out into the ocean. And while Jennifer's character's on the boat, she begins to see photos of herself and her friends, and like the hair that was cut from Sarah's
Yeah.
character, it's all strung up, and she's like, "Uh-oh, I just stepped into a horror scene."
Oops.
And then the guy, he comes in, he's like, "What are you doing running? You kids should have fun. You know what kids normally do on the 4th of July, lighting fireworks, having a fun time, going to parties, running people over, getting away with murder." And she's like, "Oh, you're Ben Willis." And he's like, "Yep, I'm the killer. What can I say? Ho ho." When I watched this movie again for the podcast, I had gotten events mixed up, and I know me explaining this probably sounds confusing as hell. So let me break this down one more time. Here we go, one more time. So David Egan and Susie Willis are driving. They crash. David Egan survives. Susie dies. The next 4th of July, Susie's father, Ben Willis, is mad at the fact that his daughter died and his son-in-law survived. So that next 4th of July, while David Egan is vibing on the cliff, probably gonna try to commit suicide, Ben Willis says, "Nope, not before I get to you, not before I have something to say," and proceeds to kill David Egan, tossing his body into the ocean. So that's why they find it weeks later. Ben Willis then is like, "Oh, I'm gonna get away with this." Yes. Is walking, minding his own business, then gets run over by 4 drunk kids, and they proceed to throw him into the ocean. So he's like, "Well, karma, I guess." So yeah, and then so he's mad, and he's already murdered his son-in-law. So what would 4 drunk teens like? That wouldn't matter to him. So the next summer, he proceeds to go and hunt them down. He got 2 of them already. Now he just needs Ray and Jennifer's character, and Jennifer is already on the boat, so that won't be hard. So he's chasing her on the boat in a pretty, I would say, probably the best moment of the film. I don't know. He's chasing her around. They like go through various parts of the boat. She screams. By the way, Jennifer's screams in this movie are pretty good. I'd say they're some of the best screams I've heard in horror movies. So she's going throughout different various parts of the boat. He's chasing her with the hook. She goes into like the deepest parts of the boat. It's pretty sick, I guess. Pretty cool. And she finds like this like huge chamber full of ice, which I'm guessing is where you put the fish in. She finds the bodies of her friends. They're all decomposed in a really gruesome way. And the fisherman's chasing her. Ray catches up to the boat in his own little rinky dinky boat, and he catches up to them. He climbs onto the boat. He's trying to get Ben Willis, but I think she distracts him, right, with the scream or something like that. Like she yells like "Ray," and he gets distracted and he gets knocked out.
Yeah,
Like, what?
so there she goes, killing another person indirectly.
Yeah. And then so he's knocked out on the ground, I guess, for a bit. And so Ben Willis is gonna go after Jennifer's character again. And he says something like, "When you kill someone, make sure you leave them for dead." That's at that point when Ray throws this huge like hook, I guess. It's a part of the boat. And he swings it over, knocks Ben Willis to the floor. Ben Willis raises his hand or something, and his hook and his hand get stuck on a rope, which Ray then activates some sort of contraption, which pulls the rope up. Ben Willis goes flying into the air. He goes flying, and he gets I said this last episode as well. He gets disarmed. His arm gets cut off,
Yeah,
and his hook.
he's been disarmed.
Yeah, his hook and his hook and his hand go like flying into the ocean, and Ben Willis goes flying with one hand as well, I guess. With only one hand, flies into the ocean as well. Although Ben Willis said before he was thrown overboard, "Hey, next time you go kill someone, make sure he's dead." He just told you that, and you just assume, well, he's dead. He fell into the ocean, even though there's, 2 sequels at least. But so then, it's all happy, gory, hunky dory, and the police officers then like ask, like, "Oh, do you wonder why he must have gone after you kids?" And they look at each other suspiciously. Jennifer and Ray look at each other suspiciously, like, for a second. They're like, "Nah." If I were a cop and I were to see that, I'd be like, "Oh, so he is."
Yeah, I don't know.
But
All the cops in this are kind of just like meh.
Which is whack.
Like they're just not paying attention.
Yeah.
this cop has probably had like a string of murderers by this guy Ben Willis, and they just don't care. Ben Willis probably has a tradition of killing people on the 4th of July, and they're like, oh, I don't care. But
Might as well. Too many anyway.
yeah, and then so you cut to a year later, and Julie, who's Jennifer's character, she's in college again. I think she was in college before. She's in college again though, and she enters the shower and she's having a steamy conversation with Ray, and he's like, "Are you wearing a towel? Like, can I see or something?" And she's like, "Oh, Ray, we have 2 weeks till I get home. You get to ravage me in 2 weeks." I think she says.
Yeah. I was just like, oh.
Okay. Which, by the way, they put Jennifer's character in such skimpy outfits.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like,
It's
I
like
get
anything
it.
that she's in.
Yeah, like I get you guys are in the like a coastal area and it's fresh and whatnot. But like even like Alex pointed out in the commentary when we were watching this, like the shots and angles they have of this, like are zoomed in on like
Yeah.
they're zoomed in on her breast. She a friend tells her like, "Oh, I have this note for you," like, and she leaves it out for her, and she walks out and she opens the note and it's like ominous, kind of reminiscent of the note she received in the beginning that said, "I know what you did last summer." She opens it up. It's just an invitation to a pool party they're gonna have, and she's like, "Oh, haha, silly me thinking that Ben Willis is still alive." She goes back into the showers, and it's all like full of steam. I guess she was gonna boil her body with like hot water, and then there's like a glass panel that says like, "I still know," and she's like, "Uh-oh, I still know." And then you see the fisherman in the last jump scare just smash out of the glass and go for the camera, and bam,
Yeah.
credits. So.
Which is it's not mentioned anytime during the movie, but that's a dream sequence.
Oh yeah,
So
they
he's not
mentioned
actually back. So moving on, there's 2 movies. You want to say the title of these dumbass movies?
Yeah. So the end of the first says "I Still Know," which is the name of the second film. "I Still Know What You Did Last Summer," and then the third one is called "I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer,"
which is just so stupid.
and as I said before, all 3 of them are available on Showtime.
Please
Alex,
don't watch them. Please don't watch them. They're horrible. We didn't even watch the movies. The last 2 we looked over the plot because we weren't gonna sit through another, what was it, 3 fucking hours of this. So
Yeah.
I'll save you the time. I'll save you the time. This is how this is how much I hate these movies. So the second movie, all these movies involve the same fisherman. The
Ben Willis.
exact same fisherman. So in the second one, of course, he comes back after taking them to the Bahamas or some shit and kills them there. Yeah. Jack Black's in the second one. That's kind of cool, but he dies.
Jack Black has like dreads. And
yeah, they give him dreads.
He's like smoking all the time.
They made him a hippie with dreads and a pot smoker. So yeah, they.
No, yeah. Well, the reason they go to the Bahamas is because they answer a question or something like, "What's the capital of Brazil?"
Oh yeah, they say Rio de Janeiro, which is not true. It's Brasilia.
But they still win.
So I mean, right there.
Yeah, they should have known.
They should have known. So of course it's a kill. Yeah, of course it's Ben Willis, and one of the chicks has a boyfriend. Guess what the boyfriend's name is? Will Benson.
Will Benson.
This man's name is Will Benson.
And he's the son of what's his name again? Ben Willis.
He's the son of Ben Willis. At the end of the movie, it's revealed that he's literally Ben Willis's son, and he literally says Benson, son of Ben. And I'm like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah, that movie. Oh, so that movie follows up this.
Yeah, it's like a direct sequel.
Yeah, you have Jennifer Love Hewitt return for the role,
and Ray, his character's still there. They live again. They
But the
lifted the
fisherman,
movie. The fisherman
he's
dies.
killed.
Okay, yeah.
He's shot.
He's shot 8 times with a shotgun. He's dead. The son is killed by the fisherman because he accidentally hooks him. I don't give a shit. Third movie, the fisherman comes back. Completely different people. They have nothing to do with the original people. And no. Let me tell you. Fuck it. You want to know where this is? You want to know where this movie takes place? This movie about the fisherman? North Carolina.
Colorado.
Oh, no, Colorado. No, sorry.
In the middle of a desert.
In the middle of a landlocked state. That's where this movie with the fisherman killer takes place. So
the first takes place on a coastal city. The second's the Bahamas. We got an ocean theme going on. Third, Colorado.
landlocked state. No backstory. By the way, literally no backstory in the third movie. This movie was straight to video. The shots were horrible. This looks like a shitty ass movie. The production is so bad. Cheap.
No
dirt
correlation
cheap.
to the prior 2 movies. So what's Ben Willis doing in this movie? You say?
In the end, it is revealed after the fisherman is being shot throughout the movie. He's being stabbed, and you're like, oh well, that usually slows someone down. Nope. End of the movie, it's revealed. Zombie Ben Willis. I was done. Why? Literally, no explanation is given.
Yeah.
None.
Oh
It's just
God.
zombie Ben Willis. He's back from the grave to kill them for no reason, just because they made
And
a joke.
it's not even the same teams. It's not even the same location.
No, nothing's the same.
How do you go from the coastal area where he was killing teens for a reason to the middle of a desert with people that he
Horrible movies,
So-
all of them.
So does that mean Ben Willis as a zombie was just vibing all across America?
Yeah.
Traveling.
He's a traveler. He has like
He's
one of those
like,
RVs. He has a traveler Instagram.
He's like, let me stop here in Colorado to kill a few random kids.
He has an Instagram. Like, it's basically a carbon copy of the first movie, except for the stupid ass zombie Ben Willis.
Yeah, and it taking
Stupid
place in
movie.
the desert.
Stupid movie.
So-
Anyways, what was your guys' thoughts on the movie? I think I've made my thoughts well clear about the movie.
Yeah, Alexis, what are your thoughts?
I feel like I paid more attention to like the 2 main actresses and then the set and the outfits than like anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
not
then
gonna
pretty
lie,
much
I
just
did
like
too.
angry Barry or whatever. I was like him too, but that's about it. Everything else was like a wash.
Yeah. Yeah, I paid attention only to Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt because I know them, and Barry because he's
Yeah.
a dick. Other than
Yeah.
that, everything is just whack.
Horrible. Just horrible.
So, Alexis, what was your favorite scene from the movie? If you have one.
Let me think.
The
I feel like-
credits.
the credits. No, I feel like you know what? I think it's when he goes and like talks to like Max and like originally I thought that he would be like a more significant character, like because he likes Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, but like he's not. He just kind of dies early, and then like Barry is just angry. That's pretty much it. I just love Barry, even though he sucks. He's really entertaining.
Angie.
Yeah. Just seeing Max get harassed by Barry for no reason.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alex,
and then
Alex-
anything, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that anytime Barry harasses someone, it's just
It's just funny.
it catches you off guard.
Yeah.
Alex, what's your favorite scene from the movie?
For me, it's a toss up between where he just decks Ray in the face and the end credits, and I'm not even joking. That's not even a joke.
Yeah.
I
I-
actually did jump twice in this movie. I actually did. This is the first movie
What?
to actually scare me.
Oh.
Because I wasn't paying
Oh.
attention, and
Wait, what?
the knocking on the window scene,
Oh yeah.
and then the final scene where he jumps out. Those two made me jump, but they didn't like scare me.
Yeah, they're just like what jump scares normally
Yeah.
do. Yeah, my favorite scene from the movie would probably be the interaction. I guess as Alexis said, the interaction. Well, the interaction between Barry and Max, but also Max's death. I think it's the best death in the movie. Like it's the most gruesome death. So it like sets up like, oh, it's gonna be a gruesome movie, but everyone else just dies in like whack ways. But yeah, Max
Yeah.
is like killed. He has like a hook driven right through his lower jaw, and he's dragged over a counter.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty
whoa.
bloody, pretty bloody.
Yeah.
It's weird because
That
I feel like all the like weird secondary characters die the most gruesome, like Max and then like the sister are both like really brutal for some reason
Oh, yeah.
compared
Oh,
to everyone
yeah.
else.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why.
he hates women.
Wait, Max is
Oh, oh no, I'm sorry.
is it?
But yeah. Would you say that there's like a favorite horror what was like the standout horror sequence in this, if there is one?
Nothing.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you.
This is
Not-
nothing.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
Okay,
maybe
Alex.
when she like goes on the boat and there's like her hair. That's about it.
Oh, yeah. Alex, you've seen all 4 movies now. How would you rank them? Go.
This goes at the bottom.
Oh my god, really? It goes underneath Critters?
This would go underneath Critters. I would rather watch Critters and all of its sequels than watch this movie again.
Oh my god.
I despise this movie.
Wow, that's wow. I didn't think this movie would strike you.
I hate this movie. I want to personally apologize to Alexis for bringing her on to this movie specifically. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I like Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar, so it's okay.
They're the only
Yeah.
thing that made this movie good.
They're the only great actresses, or just
That's
actors
true.
in general from this movie.
Sure.
Barry, his acting is so bad. I don't know.
So bad.
Everyone's acting is so whack.
So bad.
So, Alex, you wouldn't see the sequels?
No.
You don't want to see Ben Willis return the second or as a zombie?
No.
You don't want to see Will Benson?
I will not be
Son
on the
of Ben
episode that
Willis.
you watch these. We're not watching these.
Yeah.
These are not on the episode. These are not on the
Yeah.
list.
Oh yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I don't know if I mentioned it ever. This list has 95 movies that I'm sure you guys know of, but there's no sequels on this list. Sequels are not allowed. We will talk about sequels when we go over the legacy of the film. So like for those of you wondering, okay, so you're gonna do Friday the 13th, or you do Friday the 13th part 6, Jason Lives? No, I'm sorry, just the first. I'm not doing the sequels because I'll cover the sequels in the episode of the original. That being said, though, I am allowing for remakes and crossovers. So do expect Friday the 13th remake and obviously the crossover, Freddy versus Jason. How am I not going to give that its own episode? But yeah, not the only crossover we have on this and not the only remake we have on this, but no sequels. That's the list I had to make because that's a rule I had to make because if not, this list would be like 150 or something.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah. But I'd say that's everything for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Oh, movie number 91. 91? Yeah, it's after this. Hey Alex, what would you do if crime was legal? What's the one thing you would do?
Honestly, probably tax fraud or something. I mean,
Okay.
like, think about it, right? Like, nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Like,
Make your
yeah.
money last.
Yeah.
What would you do, Alexis?
I was gonna say I was gonna steal stuff because I like also think of monetary value, but then Alex is thinking about the future. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like tax
Yeah,
fraud.
that's true.
yeah.
Well, next episode we'll see what happens to society when crime is legal for a day. I'm sure you guys already know what movie it is after saying that, but
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
that'll be next episode. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Alexis, for joining us this episode.
Yeah, it's been good. Kind of.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for it had to be this movie.
It's
We
okay.
will have you back again for a decent movie, I swear.
Yeah, let me know what horror movie you want to be on for next. We'll make
You
it
get
up for
first
this.
choice. We got to make it up to you.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right.
But yeah, I'm your co-host Robert.
And I'm a co-host, Alex, and this has unfortunately been episode 92 on this shitty movie. Yeah. See you guys next week.
Is on the witching hour.